You found the WMIX Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 and WMIXsports.com. Cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. The Saturday Sports Show has been recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the top radio programs in the state. That means the very best mix of local sports content is right here. From the powerhouse on Broadway, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
Good morning, a calm, cool morning in the King City. Glad to have you with us for the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX and WMIXsports.com. All powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski and Jeff Crow in studio for you today, talking some high school football. We'll also talk some other sports from around the area today. And, of course, first, before we get to our guest list, Mount Vernon Rams, of course, last night. You heard it here on AM 940, watched it online at WMIXsports.com. Got a big 48-21 win over the Triad Knights. Of course, we'll have video archive of that game after the season is over. We'll get the audio uploaded a little bit later this morning. And what a game it was for the Rams. Of course, 8 offensive series last night, scored on 7 of them. And it's a little hard to count the 8th just because it was so late in the fourth quarter, and the attempt was just to run out the clock, not necessarily to score. And just a big win for the Mount Vernon Rams, now 2-1 on the season, first time above 500 since 08.
As dominating of a performance as I have seen in quite a while as far as a team dominating start to finish. I mean, very few plays ran last night by the Mount Vernon Rams were of negative yardage, maybe a handful or less, and a lot of them came when the game was not in doubt. And, I mean, you look at this Mount Vernon team last night, what they did with Triad, considering what Triad has been able to do in the last 10, 12 years in the Valley Conference. Very impressive home win last night. And, I mean, if that doesn't give you some confidence and some swagger going into Althoff, I don't know what will help this team do that.
Well, and I thought you mentioned it and hit it perfectly last night. It was a young Triad team. Didn't make the postseason last year for the first time in years. And coming in youthful last night, and that youthful experience did show. But also you could tell from the tenderness of the quarterback's injury, Barber, from the week before against Collinsville, you could see that warming up. You pointed that out during warm-ups, of course, unable to really throw all that well with any control or any velocity. And it did not seem to impact his running as much. The Rams certainly did bite at times on his option plays, but all in all, when it was crunch time, the Rams had big hits, and the Rams made some big stops.
At one point, at halftime, Triad had several yards, close to 200 yards. Problem was, 2 of those plays got him 100. I mean, it was not like Triad was moving the football, and, Mount Vernon was up 21-7 at one point, 13-0, 21-7, and Triad busts that big run. It makes it 21-14. You're nervous because it is a close game, and then, of course, Mount Vernon was able to pull away, and I got to give credit not only to the domination of the offensive line by the Rams, but the defense of the Rams, especially the front 7, the defensive line, the linebackers, for staying in their lanes, staying with their assignments, and not falling for all the fakery and trickery that comes with the option offense. They stayed home, whereas Triad last night, you could tell, bid on some fakes, youth and inexperience, and Mount Vernon didn't run a lot of trick plays, smoke and mirrors kind of things. It was hard-nosed football, kind of like the old Big Ten style 10, 15 years ago, where we're going to line it up, we're going to play helmet on helmet, and Mount Vernon dominated up front and had holes to run in all night long and racked up over 400 yards total offense.
Well, and it was an impressive effort for the Mount Vernon Rams, who are now 2-1 in the year. Triad is 0-3, and it's going to be an interesting South 7 as we head into conference play next week. Of course, the Rams will travel to Althoff, Carbondale travels to Centralia, and Marion will travel to Cahokia. Of course, Cahokia is Week 3 matchup not in the books just yet. They have Miller Career Academy today, a team the Rams played in both 10 and 11 and opened up the season back in Week 1. But as we take a look at some of the scores from last night, looking at last night's scoreboard, I think there's going to be some interesting results as we take a look. Some surprises, some not.
And there were, and we look at the opponents for the Mount Vernon Rams. Of course, Week 1 opponent Rochester beat Taylorville 42-10. Week 2 opponent Mascoutah. We watched the end of that game online, and they go into Althoff last night, beating the Crusaders 26-24. So there's 2 points for the Rams playoff-wise. Of course, Mount Vernon beat Week 3 opponent last night, Triad 48-21. Then in week's four opponent, of course, Althoff. Week 5 opponent Marion came from behind to beat Harrisburg in a much closer game than what a lot of people thought, 35-24. Carbondale continues the roll. They scored 40 last night against Waterloo to beat them 40-17. Of course, week 7, Cahokia plays today against Miller Career Academy. Week 8, Centralia beat Effingham 28-6. And in week 9, opponent Mount Carmel beat Princeton, Indiana, in a little bit more of a struggle than what many people thought 47-35. So it would be 6 playoff points right now for Mount Vernon. And if Cahokia can win, that would be 7. Definitely, if Mount Vernon gets 5 wins, they're going to get in on playoff points. Black Diamond Conference last night, blowout continues. Carmi beat Johnston City 46-20. They had them down 38-0 at 1 point. Chester and SVWW were tied at 15, late third, early fourth, and Chester took advantage of some late Red Devils turnovers to beat SVWW 36-15. El Dorado rolls again, beating CZR on the road 48-6. And Fairfield, no problems with Alvarado Trico 58-8. We'll go east a little bit more. Little Illini. Well, Casey beat Pal Hut 48-14. Newton in a close one beat Flora 28-27. Oblong over Cumberland 19-10. Olney beat Marshall 33-14. Red Hill comes out on top over Edwards County in overtime 34-32. And Robinson beat Lawrenceville 42-16. In the Big Boy Conference, the Southwestern Conference, Beast beat Collinsville 24-6. Belleville West beat Granite City 48-7. Instant Classic last night as Edwardsville hands East St. Louis a rare Southwestern Conference loss 29-28. And O'Fallon gave Alton gave O'Fallon fits last night, but O'Fallon wins 21-7. For more scores from around the state, including scores from the Big 12, Central State 8, and also non-conference games, you can look at WMIXsports.com. There's a whole list on there, including high school soccer and high school volleyball as well.
There you go. It was a busy night in high school sports last night. Of course, you heard the football scores there. As Danny said, check out WMIXsports.com. Working on updating the archives now, of course, as we multitask during the Saturday sports show. But all in all, it's going to be a busy show for you this morning. Of course, we'll talk with Jared Shaner about last night's that's last week's score, about last night's 41-21. I'm not so reliable sending out scores, apparently. Last night's 41-28 win over Triad. We'll talk with Coach Johnny Hollis, whose team was able to hang in there against Chester, tied 15-15 at 1 point. Did fall last night. We'll talk with Todd Rushing, WMIX sports correspondent. We'll talk with John Shadowins, another WMIX sports correspondent. Kurt Simon, we'll talk with him about Carmi's big win over Johnston City. And we'll talk with Tim Kuhn of the Nashville Hornets about their win over West Frankfort. We'll take a quick break here on the Saturday Sports Show. When we come back, it's Mount Vernon Rams head football coach Jared Shaner. This is the Saturday Sports Show powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
The health of your kidneys has a big impact on your overall health, affecting everything from your blood pressure to your bones. And if you ever have a kidney problem, Dr. Kangura is here to help. Dr. Kangura trained at the Mayo Clinic and specializes in conditions ranging from kidney stones and uncontrolled high blood pressure to chronic kidney disease. Dr. Kangura sees patients at Crossroads Specialty Clinic. For an appointment, call 618-241-9071.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview in Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals. Pekin Insurance.
Here's Jeff Schmidt for Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon.
We're really excited about the all-new 2014 Chevy Impala. It is an absolutely beautiful car. It's the best riding car that you'll find on the market. It's a full-size car that can get up to 31 miles per gallon on the highway, and we're really excited about that. Our customers love this car. It's selling great. We've got a great selection. We want to get them out on the road, and we're making great deals to make that happen.
Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon, 3423 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXsports.com. Follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports. Of course, the show today, as always, is presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Our first guest, of course, is the head coach of Mount Vernon Rams football. Victorious last night by a score of 41-28. 48-21. I had that backwards,
Why are
didn't
you
I?
struggling right now?
I don't know. I'm
score
head
is-
case right now because I sent the wrong score to our sister stations last night because I'm an idiot.
I covered you, don't worry.
I know. But we do welcome Jared Shaner to the program. Coach, good morning.
Morning, guys. How are you?
You know what? Pretty good. And I'm going to ask this probably every time. How much sleep did you get last night?
I got more than I have been. I think I've been a little worn out, but we're looking at about 5 hours last night.
Wow.
5.5.
That could be a new record for you.
It's pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good today.
I can imagine. Big win over the Triad Knights last night. Of course, a win as complete as that, sometimes it's hard to know where to begin, but let's talk about that offensive line last night, paving the way through your first 7 possessions, 7 scores off of those 7 possessions, and it all started up front.
It did. Those guys did a great job last night. We came out early, and I knew they would try to adjust to our motion and maybe bring a safety down or be aggressive with the outside linebacker. So we tried to run inside early, and we did. We had great success. Our O-line did a nice job. Graham Hankin ran the ball nice from our fullback spot. So, I think that was key, just coming out and being able to move it inside, and then obviously that opened up some things outside later on too.
Speaking of your team, you took the football out of the gate, marched it down the field. I believe your first 2 drives, one was 10 plays, one was 10 plays. You had another one for 12, another one for 11 plays. Offensively, that's got to make you smile knowing that you can pound those kind of drives out against Triad. And I'll credit that offensive line. As far as I'm concerned, that was the key to the whole game last night.
Yeah, they did a great job. And, yeah, it does when, I think I mentioned it last night after the game to one of the news guys that, as far as the type of game that I would like to call and I think would help us be successful week in and week out, last night was pretty darn close to as good as you can get. Our O-line did a great job. Our running backs ran hard, took care of the football. We didn't have any turnovers. So, yeah, it was, I think we ran it, 68 or 70 times and just threw it a handful. And it was just, I think, an overall good game. And like you said, it started up front with our O-line.
The offensive line did well, but one of the things in being a running back is knowing where to go, knowing your ability and not wanting to dance and get to the line and get going forward. Last night I saw something out of your running backs that tells me how good this core is patience. Whether you're running short side trying to turn it up the field or you're stretching the defense going to the wide side, looked to me like last night your running backs had that unique and perfect ability to stretch, wait for the block to happen, and then cut it upfield at the exact right time. Maturity and experience is starting to show as far as these running backs are concerned.
I think so. I think you're exactly right. And, we've got some kids with some natural athletic ability, and then we work on those things too. And, yeah, last night I think one of the most beautiful things for me is you watch, DeMontez or CJ or any of our halfbacks, Drew, and one of the newspapers got a great picture of it. We've got our right guard, Josh Borland, pulling around the outside. And obviously our running back is faster than our guard, but in the paper it's just about perfect. Our running back's got his hand on our guard's hip, and he's just letting him lead the way out there. And whatever side the defender chooses, it's going to be wrong. We'll just make a cut off you. And again, it starts with our O-line, but our running backs really did a nice job of that last night.
Defensively, now as you mentioned, your team goes up 13-0, and it would be very easy for a team to sit back. That wins have been a lot here lately. To sit back, get comfortable, be happy, and Triad comes down with a big play and scores quickly. The mood of the team doesn't change. They keep going. 21. They scored another touchdown, 21-7 at that point. That, to me, was a huge touchdown as far as the psyche, the makeup, and how that game was going to go last night, because it would have been very easy to get up a couple of scores and then roll over knowing, here comes Triad. They beat us 3 years in a row. This team did not do that last night.
Yeah, I was very happy about that, and I think, probably in not so many words, that's what I tried to convey on the sideline, too, that, the Triad's a good football program, and their wins haven't come yet this year, but I know they'll get some. And you're not. No, nobody's going to go out and beat Triad 42-0. They're too good for that. So we talked about that on the sideline, and just talked to the fact that, hey, 14 points isn't going to win this game. It's going to be a battle all night long, and we need to respond offensively. And I was really happy our kids, like you said, came out and did that.
Last night on the other side, after half, it had been very easy again to come out and do, whatever. It seemed to me last night on the other side, Triad runs the option. Your defensive guys, it'd be very easy to leave your spot, leave your position to go ball chase or fake chase is what I call it. Your defense last night stayed home, did their things, and the difference in the game, your defense stayed home, took care of their running game, got off the field so the offense kept back on, whereas their linebackers kept biting on fakes, leaving the middle open. Your defense played very well also last night.
Yeah, in the second half, I was pretty happy with them. We made a couple of adjustments at halftime. Coaches got together, and they scored 7 in the second half, and you do that each half of the game. If you're giving up 14 points, those are really good stats on the defensive side of the ball. So, we gave up a couple long plays that we'd like to, maybe get back and tackle a little bit better. But overall, like you said, second half we came out defensively and got the stops that ultimately were the deciding factor in the game.
Of course, as we look ahead now to the Althoff Crusaders on the road this coming Friday night, they come off of a come-from-behind loss to the Mascoutah Indians, a team that you guys just beat in Week 2. And I know you can't look at comparative scores and things like that in football, at least I don't like to. But having seen that and having watched that game last night after the end of our game, it certainly would appear more so now that the Rams have a much better chance against the Althoff Crusaders.
Well, yeah, like you said, in high school sports, I think in general, but definitely in terms of football, you can't compare scores. For one reason, they're 17-year-old kids, and sometimes you get their best effort on Friday nights, and sometimes you don't, and there's other things going on, and sometimes it's matchups. Sometimes what you do offensively is good against a team's defense, or vice versa. But, I guess it sure feels better than waking up and seeing that, Althoff rolled them by 50. So I haven't had a chance to watch all the film yet. We'll start doing that today and, kind of come up with a game plan and see what we think our best options against them are.
We actually have seen more film than you have at this point because we were watching in the press box.
Probably have, yeah. We stayed here late last night and worked on some of our film and watched some things, but haven't had a chance to see the Crusaders yet.
And looking at that game and getting the win like you did last night, the mood of the team, it's got to be a little different down there right now knowing, hey, we just beat Mascoutah and Triad. Heading on the road, is there a theme or a mood right now with this team? I know you haven't seen them yet this morning probably, but is there a theme like, hey, you know what, we can get this done as a group. There's no reason why we can't have this season what we want.
Well, I think so. Kids are getting ready to come in here in a few minutes, and I feel like that's going to be, maybe the thing that we take from this week forward is just the confidence. I think going in, we felt like we could be a good team this season. After the game last night, I addressed the kids and said, hey, it feels great. We played a nice game tonight, but, going into the year, our goal wasn't to win 2 games. So I think if we can take that into each game this week, and we still, in my opinion, we still approach it. We have not been very successful the last couple of years, and we've got to approach it. We're the underdog in every game, but we also know that we have some confidence and we have the ability to play with anybody left on our schedule. So I think you're going to see our kids come out, this coming week excited and hungry, and it's our conference season now. So I think that's huge for us.
As if it being the South 7 Conference season wasn't big enough, is the fact that even though it was 2A, Althoff last year finished as the 2A runner-up, is that something you can use to kind of add another chip to the shoulder of your football team?
Well, I think so. They're a good football program, and obviously had a lot of success last year. Coming back, they bring back quite a few guys on the offensive side of the ball, and I definitely think that's an angle we can use, and regardless of wins and losses this year, I think, hey, they've been better than us the last couple of years, and until we go out on the field and prove it against them, that again we're the underdogs, and we'll go in there and hopefully start our conference season with a win.
How sweet that would be on Friday night, of course, and the Altop Crusaders on the road on the Candy Cane Field up there at Lindenwood University, Belleville, the former Township Stadium. But I believe it's WMIX Sports social media question time, and I have no idea what it is.
I picked this one last Sunday night watching the Cowboys and Giants, so I've already got you probably going about 8 different directions. But this week's question is, Carrie Underwood replaced Faith Hill to sing the opening theme of NBC Sunday Night Football. So our question this week is, who would you pick to sing the NBC Sunday Night Football theme?
Do I go with those two, or just in general?
If you're happy with Carrie Underwood, you can go with that, or others, or
anybody.
Previous. It's your choice. Or you're the executive producer for that show now.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm completely out of my element. I was still having a coaches meeting, so I didn't get to see the beginning of the Sunday night game last week. And while I do enjoy music, it's definitely not my forte. So I would have to defer to my vice president, executive director, and let them make the call on that one.
Is that right? Any music group or person that you would that you listen to that you would pick?
Well, I just don't know that the anthem or the beginning of the game would be good. I'm kind of right now. I'm in a little bit of a phase of kind of a Bob Dylan folksy type.
There you go.
And I don't know if you can pull that off for the beginning of Sunday Night Football.
I'll tell you what, all it's been is Faith Hill and Carrie Underwood ripping off Joan Jett so far, so I don't know that Bob Dylan would be that much of a... And I think that would be fine. Shaner, congratulations, 2-1. This is huge in terms, in my opinion, for the community. Of course, it's been since 2008 since it's been above 500. So congratulations for that. Congratulations to the kids, and hopefully keep it going on Friday night against the Crusaders.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for having me on, guys.
That is Jared Shaner, head coach of Mount Vernon Rams football, and I know that sometimes I tend to overblow things and go back to the past and compare things to that, but 2-1 is a great accomplishment when you think of how it is not easy to turn around from a season like last year, especially with a new group of kids. But these kids just seem to have a different type of chip about them, and it's just one of those things where as long as they continue to have the confidence they have, that's going to carry them fairly far.
And it is, and it's a step at a time. And now, I mentioned this in a pregame last night, and I'll mention it here, and you'll probably hear it again next week, is Mount Vernon is an underdog going into Althoff next week. I know Althoff lost last night, but the fact you go on the road, you play the runner-ups in 2A last year in the private school in Althoff, Mount Vernon still has to go over there and beat Althoff. It's been a while since that's happened. So Mount Vernon goes in as the underdog. This is the first of a few games this year where Mount Vernon will be an underdog, and they have to win a game. In order to turn the corner and get the program going where they want it, you have to start winning games you're not supposed to win. And that's the first one on the list next week is that road game at Althoff. If you go in there and beat Althoff and prove to the world, hey, we can do this, those other games now, instead of you being underdogs, you might be favorites in. But you got to win that first one to turn the corner where you're not a favorite.
Exactly right. And, of course, big South Southern Conference matchup on Friday night. 6:30 will be your pregame. 7 o'clock your kickoff on WMIX 940. Online video, of course, at WMIXsports.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk Cestro-Lear, Waltonville, Woodlawn Red Devils football with Johnny Hollis. Tough loss last night to Chester, but hung tough. I believe it was tied at 15 for quite the duration of that third quarter. So we'll talk with Coach Hollis when we come back here on the Saturday Sports Show, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Complete. That's the Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois with a full sports medicine clinic, state-of-the-art MRI, a spine care team that focuses on pain management, arthroscopy specialists offering total joint replacement, hand surgery, and complete rehabilitation services. Doctors Chow, Hool, Ahn, Kowalski, Freehill, and Smith stand ready to serve you today with offices in Mount Vernon and Centralia and satellite offices in Benton and Nashville. Find out more online at orthocenter-si.com.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank. Now is a great time to move your account to Community First Bank. With our new One Account offering the highest interest rate in the market, free checking, and CD specials delivered by people you know and trust, why would you not bank with the market leader in Jefferson County? We offer 5 locations with 7 ATMs and have been serving the Jefferson County market since 1906. Stop in and see why our bank is the fastest growing bank in Jefferson County. Community First Bank. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX and WMIXSports.com. It's all powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
That's Danny Zerwinski. I'm Chris Hugo. Jeff Crow with us in the studio until 10 o'clock. Proud to welcome to the program now Johnny Hollis. He is the head coach of Red Devil football. Sestonville, Waltonville, Woodlawn, of course, a loss last night at Chester, but you consider the fact it was tied at 15 late into the game, and quite the effort from the Red Devils last night. Coach, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
You guys were able to strike early against a tough Chester team that many had pegged to be the front runner of the Black Diamond Conference. I know it's a loss, but I think you have to feel pretty good after last night's effort.
I think every week, including last night, I think we're climbing the ladder. We made some improvements last night, and like you said, even though we lost, I was very proud of our kids and the effort they gave, and we played them straight up and had the lead for a long time, and then played them straight up for 39 minutes. So we've limited our mistakes to 39 minutes. Now we just got to get the additional game under control. But very proud of our effort last night. That's a good team, and we're getting there. We're not quite there yet. Just still making some silly errors, but hopefully we'll get that fixed soon.
Solid football from your crew, and last night the mistakes that you made obviously are going to get corrected. Learning to play under the lights after 3 weeks, to playing under the lights on a Friday night, or some of your younger kids starting to figure out, even with the bad, all the good that comes with it, and starting to learn how to play a varsity football on a Friday night? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, you can't, you guys know, you can't duplicate that in practice. I mean, that's something that they have to learn in the heat of the battle, and so I think that's a big thing. That's a good point you made. Every Friday night helps, and especially with those guys that are younger. And then we got a lot of guys that are even older. Some of our senior guys that up until this year, they've been playing second fiddle to guys that have been ahead of them starting. So, a lot of them are just getting their feet wet with varsity ball too. So we are young and kind of inexperienced, and I think that's why we're seeing improvement every week, is that's the only way to learn, is to get out there and do it.
I'm seeing names starting to show up in your box score now 3 weeks in. Marlowe, Owens, Clayton Holford as well. I mean, these are guys that are going to be stalwarts in your program next couple of years, and it's good to see them get those yards and get those things done, because in order for them to learn, they're going to have to be thrown at the fire. You're doing that. As a team as a whole, 3 weeks in, you've already battled Chester. You've already played El Dorado. Have you mentioned that to your team? Say, guys, we've already got those 2 past us. Well, now we can go out and get something done with 6 weeks to go?
Sure. I mean, we've meat grinder of a schedule at the beginning for us. We knew this year with the conference rotating, schedule, we knew it was going to be tough right off the bat, but you know what? In some ways, I think that's going to help us down the road. Getting us ready for the rest of the conference. We're not good enough for me to say, the rest of the schedule is easy at all. I mean, it's not. Every game we're going to have to work our butts off to win, and we're going to take it 1 week at a time. But, yeah, I mean, supposedly we've played the top-notch teams. I know we've still got a lot of good teams to go against, a lot of good coaches that are going to have their teams prepared. So we're not telling our team we're going to be on easy street by any means, but I do think we've played some good games that are going to get us ready for the rest of the season.
Rest of the season begins for you today. Are you, with Hamilton County being at Vienna today, and your last trip to Vienna was very eventful, are you expecting a less eventful scouting trip today to watch Hamilton County?
It should be. My goodness, the weather's a lot better today than it was then. I remember talking to you that day, and that was just I've never seen a game quite like that. They called it the Sun Bowl, and they should. I mean, it was more of a war of attrition than it was a football game. But anyway, yeah, interested to see those two teams. Actually, it'll be similar styles again. It seems like a lot now the trend in our conference is to kind of go spread it out and get it more wide open and a little no huddle here and there. And so it'll be interesting.
Lots of home games. I don't know. You got 2 home games, 3 home games left or whatever. You have to go to Carmi, though, week 8. At Alvarado Troutco week 9. So it seems to be over the next couple of weeks, these home games you have left, now's the time to make some hay, and also going to Hamilton County, but now's the time to make some hay for this team out of this playoff drive in 2013.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The next 2 or 3 weeks are critical for us and the outcome of our season. I'm a firm believer one game doesn't make a season or break a season, but at the same time, we only have 4 home games this year, and we've already played 2, so the next 2 are coming up shortly. Our last 3 regular season games will be on the road. So we started tough with our schedule, and then we end kind of tough by being 3 games in a row on the road. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we've got to really buckle down and get down to business here and make sure that we take care of home here before we have to go on that long road trip.
Before we let you go, we got to take care of that final question, our social media question of the week, and it is Carrie Underwood's new singer of the NBC Sunday Night Football themes. Okay? So we're asking everybody today, if you were in charge of that football theme, who would you have sing the NBC Sunday Night Football song?
Hey, man, I always have liked Faith Hill. That ticked me off when Carrie Underwood got on there, but anyway, that was a big joke between me and my wife for a long time, and when Carrie Underwood finally got on there, I was just like, oh, man. But I would have picked Faith Hill again. Put her back on there. What'd she do wrong?
Well, we're trying to figure out if, Faith Hill wasn't bad, but we're trying to. Chris Hugo's mad because they've always ripped off Joan Jett for all these years.
Yeah, no issues at all if it's an original song. But, I mean, I know it's mostly a sample, so to speak, using industry terms, but it's just a blatant ripoff.
Yeah.
But the Carrie Underwood version isn't any different. It's the same thing, just worse.
Right.
I like Carrie Underwood.
I would agree with you on that. Her execution of that song is not very good at all.
Amen.
Compared to Faith Hill. I mean, good grief.
Yeah, Faith Hill sells it. I mean, it's like, okay, I know Carrie Underwood's married to a hockey player, but Faith Hill sells it.
First of all, Faith Hill's husband played a dad in a football movie and then played technically another dad, an adoptive dad, in another football movie. So that's believable.
Right.
That makes it real. Anyhow, Coach, big game this coming Friday night. Good luck to the Red Devils. Thank you again for taking the time to join us every week.
Hey, thank you, guys. Appreciate the coverage.
That's Johnny Hollis of the Sesterler Waltonville Woodlawn Red Devils. Love the social media question of the week just because we get that.
Right. I mean, Coach Shaner's like, I don't know, Bob Dylan. Okay, and then Coach Hollis,
Coach Shaner may not have sounded like it. He's jacked right now.
Coach Hollis needs to be on the CMA committee.
Yes.
I mean, my goodness, he knows everything. I mean, that's good stuff. He is not happy with the lack of execution.
Our next guest, I'm curious to get his answer because there's about 15 different ways that this could go. And so we're going to find out. Todd Rushing, of course, WMIX sports correspondent, will join us here in just a moment. Talk about his game last night. We'll get you some scores again here a little bit later in the 9 o'clock hour to tide you over. If you happen to be near your phone or on your computer, you can check them out at WMIXsports.com on our score page. Obviously, it's mobile friendly, so you can check that out as well from your smartphone or tablet or your video game console, I'm told. It does show up very nicely on the Xbox 360, I'm told. Or I could have been told wrong. I don't remember what console they told me. But anyhow, we need to take a break. This is a Saturday Sports Show powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
A digestive problem can affect every area of your life. But now there's a specialist right here in town who focuses on digestive health. Mayo Clinic trained Dr. Tegpal Atwal has opened the only gastroenterology clinic in Mount Vernon. Dr. Atwal treats acid reflux, gallbladder problems, inflammatory bowel disease, ulcers, and more. For your appointment with Dr. Atwal at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 618-241-9071.
What do you get when you combine the 2013 Motor Trend Truck of the Year with the best incentives in the market during the only true truck month? Hi, Roy Schmidt, Ram dealer at King City Chrysler Center, Mount Vernon. You get deals that are too good to pass up and a large selection that won't last long. Just when you think the deals could not get any better, try 0% financing for up to 72 months on Rams. Wait, I'm not done. That's 0% financing for up to 72 months plus $2,000 cash back on new 2013 Ram Quad Cabs, Crew Cabs with the Big Horn, Express, or Outdoorsman packages. Take advantage now during the only True Truck Month. Come see one of our associates at King City Chrysler Center at 1603 Broadway in Mount Vernon, or shop us online at kingcitychrysler.com.
You can count on us. Yes, you can.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX and WMIXSports.com. WMIX Sports correspondent John Shadowin still to come. Here on the show today, Kurt Simon of the Carmi-White County Bulldogs, Tim Kuhn, of course, of the Nashville Hornets. All scheduled to stop by on today's Saturday Sports Show. Of course, our WMIX Sports social media question. You can hit us up on the Twitterverse at WMIX Sports. We're on Facebook as well, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. If you were the executive producer of, obviously, NBC Sports presentation of Sunday Night Football, whom would you have do the introductory song, the theme song, so to speak, of Sunday Night Football? Who would you have while we're trying to catch up with Todd Rushing? I've thought about it. I'm not sure, because it would depend on if we're going to continue to rip off Joan Jett or if we're going to go in an original composition. Really, there's so many ways you could go with that. I thought a good answer from Johnny Hollis about what was wrong with Faith Hill. I like Shaner's. You could go passive-aggressive with Bob Dylan. I like that. So we'll see.
I don't know. I didn't mind Pink when this all started. She had at least a voice that could rip some of the tunes.
Pink was she the original?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And she got booted for some reason. You know, the up-and-comers of the future, one that's their song out now that would make sense, it's getting a lot of sports anthem plays, Katy Perry. I think she's believable, but you got to let her do her thing. You can't let Joan Jett rip off. Guys that I could believe, doing it, John Bon Jovi. I mean, I got to have somebody there to watch his football. I can't have somebody walk out there and go, here I am singing because.
And Carrie Underwood has credibility because now, although she is with a hockey player now, there was the alleged time with Tony Romo, your quarterback.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some credibility there. I'm not sure whom I would go with. Maybe a group, maybe an individual artist, as I overemphasize.
We probably need more time to think about it. Come back later.
Definitely on that.
Because there's too many options, but I like you. I looked forward. The Cowboys were on Sunday night, so I had to watch. But wanted to see what the theme song was. But I was kind of on Carrie Underwood because I'm like, okay, I was expecting more.
I was too. I wasn't expecting the same thing, just a different style. I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the Faith Hill version. Actually, it caused me to resent Faith Hill. But all of that aside, we welcome our WMIX sports correspondent, Todd Rushing, to the program. Todd, good morning.
Good morning.
Obviously, a good night of football last night, of course. I understand you went DQ Heron.
Yes, sir. That's where I went.
Nice. How was it?
Well, I thought I saw Heron in their scrimmage game, and I saw DuQuoin last week. I thought it was going to be a pretty good game because I thought they were kind of in the same boat. They were both struggling offensively and had fairly sound defensive teams. But last night, Heron looked to have been a much improved team. They showed a lot of more versatility on offense. They still throw it real well, but they ran the ball both out of the spread and the wishbone, and they really kind of had control of the game the whole way. I think DuQuoin's still young and still trying to kind of find their identity and what they're able to do offensively, but Heron was a very much improved team.
DuQuoin starts 0-3, first time since 80. They haven't been 0-4 since 78 when they started 0-5. I know there's got to be some pressure thinking possibly this is Al Martin's last year. Is this a case of pressure getting to a team, or is this, like you said, obviously a young team maybe just doesn't have the magic of the interlocking DQ they usually have every year in football?
Well, I think they are a little bit down talent-wise. I think there's no doubt there's a little pressure on them. I think probably the big thing, is they're handling some uncharted waters, I saw it a couple of years ago. We had a few years ago. We had a team that was actually starting to win some games, and you could see the skepticism in their face when they really weren't sure how to handle that going the other way. So I can imagine it's even worse when you're experiencing, a losing situation for the first time in such a long time and unfamiliar waters. Plus, as much as fans love their teams, there's always that pressure they put on you too. They don't want to be the team that loses the streak or ends this streak or whatever. And
And when they're chance to go back and start 0-4, I'm sure that there's some pressure on them that way. But they're kids, and they were playing hard. You can't fault them for that. They didn't quit at the very end. They played very hard. They were just a little outmanned up front. And Heron has a very nice running back, number 24. He really did a great job last night.
I mean, to finish the DuQuoin point, they're 0-3 now. They got to go to Carterville week 4. Pinckneyville comes in week 5 licking their chops, and then week 6, DuQuoin goes to Sparta, which, as you know, is not a very easy place to play, and then they go to Anna Jonesboro week 7. I mean, this is, if things don't right the ship and DuQuoin don't get something going, this could be a year for the ages from the other side of the football for DuQuoin on the loss column, couldn't it?
It's exactly right, because that's what I said going into this year. I thought our conference, Carterville was clearly, I think, going to be the favorite, but other than that, it was very, very balanced. I didn't think there was anybody who couldn't beat anybody for a large part on our conference. Any week you could see a surprise. Sparta was going to be much improved. Pinckneyville had a lot of kids come back from a team that was 4-5 last year and could have been, even better without a few injuries. And I thought the other teams, Anna and DuQuoin, were going to be okay, but they were going to come back to the pack a little bit. So I thought it was going to be a very competitive conference, and if you get something like confidence or lack of confidence going, it can have a big influence on how those games go. And games maybe should win or could win, you don't win because you don't have that feeling you can. And a losing attitude or not knowing how to win sometimes can really play a big part in the game.
Looking at the rest of the river to river, and this is my thought, and I'm thinking about it last night and this morning. Obviously, on the Mississippi side, it's Carterville and everybody else. I know Anna's 3-0, but AJ's got to prove to me they can beat somebody they're supposed to at start the year. And then you go to the other side, it's a muddled mess in the Ohio Division and waiting for Heron to kind of take over. Is that how you see it, Carterville, and they're waiting for Heron and everybody else is kind of muddled around in a pack?
Well, that's what I heard preseason, that, after seeing Harrisburg last week and then seeing that they played Marion fairly competitive. I know Marion's not the powerful Marion they have, but they're still a 5A school or so, and they've scored a lot of points. I thought Harrisburg played them pretty tough last night. So I would say that side looks like maybe a 2-dog race there. That'd be a great game. That's going to be a big game when Heron plays Harrisburg. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Carterville is definitely the favorite on this side, and Heron was the preseason favorite over there and should be. But Harrisburg, I think, has got some athletes and some size that they can give people some problems.
Looking to the Black Diamond. Obviously, I think the Red Devils of SVWW in the driver's seat. They've already seen El Dorado. They've already seen Chester. If they can win some games in a row, they got to run. Basically, over there, it's El Dorado, Chester, and everybody else. And I don't see, if they didn't have the power conference, there's not a lot of teams that would make the playoffs out of there, would there?
Yeah, that's one of the advantages of having a conference like that. Is you're going to get some teams in. They're going to go 5-4 and get the points to get in that might not in another league or another type of structure. And I think that's been a thing that's pushed teams to create those kind of conferences, and that's just one of those advantages. Yeah, you're right. I think there's one of those years they're definitely going to be benefit from having that type of a league and that structure.
Week 4 coming around the corner, 1/3 of the way in. Have you looked ahead far enough to see where you might be heading out next week?
Well, no, I haven't. I've seen the Indians 2 weeks in a row. I haven't seen Carterville. I'd like to see them, so that's one I'm definitely looking at. I'd like to see the Carterville Lions play, but I guess I really messed up not being able to go up to Edwardsville last night. That ended up being a great game. I see Edwardsville scored in the last minute or so to win that game, 29-28. I missed a great game there, but no, I haven't made my decision yet. I'll have to let you know that on the golf course this week.
Okay, we'll talk about that tomorrow, of course.
Of course, that brings us to the WMIX Sports social media question this week. It is music-related. It is football-related. If you were the executive producer, of course, of NBC Sports Sunday Night Football, which artist, group, band, what have you, would you have do the introductory song that Faith Hill did and now that Carrie Underwood's doing? Who would you have?
Well, after watching that last year, I'd had a hard time not keeping with Faith Hill myself. I thought she brought a lot of viewers to the show. Golly. Maybe the Black Eyed Peas.
There you go. Well,
nice.
We've had Bob Dylan. Jared Shaner said Bob Dylan because he's something different. Johnny Hollis is very upset that Faith Hill got ran for no reason, and Carrie Underwood did not, in his words, execute the music and the song very well last Sunday night. So Johnny Hollis is very upset about Faith Hill like you are.
Well, for aesthetics ways, I'd have to stay with Faith Hill, but as far as pure music choice, I'd have to go the Eagles, because the Eagles rise above everybody as far as I'm concerned about the music. In fact, I'm going to see them next month in St. Louis. Looking forward to that.
Well, there you go. And they would probably do it. They would do well with that, I think, especially if they were to do their own composition instead of continuing to rip off Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Yeah, there you go.
But neither here nor there, Coach. We always appreciate the time you take every Saturday morning to join us, and we look forward to the conversation again next week.
Well, I enjoy it, too. It gives me a chance to stay in touch with football, and I look forward to it every week.
Amen. That is Todd Rushing, WMIX sports correspondent. Of course, we'll talk with him next week. I like the lack of public release of which game he will attend. I know he hasn't made up a final decision, but I like that. And so we'll know next week where he went. And I can't wait to discuss it here on the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXsports.com. We need to take a quick break here. It is all presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Yeah, it is.
That's a trash can.
I got distracted.
Yeah.
It happens. Woo, there's a squirrel. Anyhow, we'll take a break here on the Saturday Sports Show. Back after these.
I'm Brian May with a look. Your next round weather. A pleasant day today with plenty of sunshine. High today 74. Clear and chilly tonight. Low 44 to 48. Tomorrow sunny to partly cloudy and pleasant. High tomorrow 80. Monday, a morning shower or thunderstorm around. Otherwise, cloudy to partly sunny skies. High Monday, 76. Next round weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Your future is calling. With a GED test and some help from Rend Lake College, you can answer the call. The current test expires at the end of 2013, and your scores will expire too if you don't finish and pass the test by then. Don't feel prepared? Don't worry, we can help. Visit finishtheged.com to learn more. Don't miss the chance to turn one small step into your next big opportunity, like college, a better job, and the respect you deserve. Finish your GED by the end of 2013. Questions? Call Rend Lake College's Adult Education and Literacy Department today at 437-5321.
Mount Vernon is home to many wonderful people and things, and that includes quality cardiac care from Dr. Ruzaik Ibrahim. A skilled cardiologist, Dr. Ibrahim's training and scientific accomplishments have earned his designation as a Fellow of the American College of Cardiology. His services range from preventative care to the treatment of advanced heart conditions. For an appointment with Dr. Ibrahim at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 241-9071 or visit in person at 4113 South Water Tower, Mount Vernon.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX, WMIXsports.com as we approach the 9 o'clock hour. Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski and Jeff Crow in studio for you, courtesy of Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
There you go. Our next guest, another WMIX sports correspondent. He is John Shadowins. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Did you end up diamond hopping last night, or what did you decide on?
Diamond hopping. I thought I would see the two favorites last night and try to determine who the favorite of those two were.
Any choice on that?
Definitive. I'm taking El Dorado.
Really?
Nice.
I'm curious because I know Chester's been so dominating, 12 Black Diamond games won in a row. And then you've seen El Dorado and you've seen Chester side by side in games, and you're going with El Dorado right now. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've seen El Dorado all three of their games. I saw a tape of their first game, and I've seen them live the last 2 weeks. Saw Chester live last night. Of course, you can't form an opinion based on. I saw 3 quarters of football with Chester and Central Valier last night. You can't form a definitive opinion there, but I did see some deficiencies with Chester that El Dorado is going to be able to exploit. First of all, El Dorado up front is the most dominating team in the Black Diamond. Even coming in this year, I knew that would be true, but not how true it was. They're leaner this year. They're quicker. That year of experience they gained last year has helped them out a lot. And defensively this year, El Dorado has stepped it up a notch, and they are so tough to score on. CZR finally found a way to crack the goal line last night. First team in 3 weeks to score on them, but El Dorado is very impressive right now.
And you look at the Black Diamond, obviously, I mean, after 3 weeks, we're starting to see some things shake out a little bit. Obviously, as you mentioned, you have Chester and El Dorado 3-0. Fairfield's 3-0, but yet to be tested. I mean, is it, is this a case, can Fairfield play at the big boys, or is this the case that Fairfield's taking advantage of that early scheduling like they normally do?
Yeah, we have no idea yet. Fairfield has not been tested, and they really haven't started yet, in my opinion, as far as playing the competitive schedule goes. And, that works to their advantage in a way. 16, 17-year-old kids need some wins, gain some confidence, and there's a lot to be said for that. But at the same time, they're going to go in Week 5 playing a Carmi team who has been tested, and that can work to your disadvantage as well.
Right, and Fairfield will end up, as you mentioned, Week 5. 3 of their last 5 games are on the road. They have home against Carmi and SVWW, but then they have to go at El Dorado, at Johnson City, at Chester. The other side I mentioned, it's to Coach Hollis a while ago, the Red Devils have already seen El Dorado and Chester. They're a team you got to kind of keep an eye on, even though they're 1-2, just because the schedule starts to change a little bit for them, and they're going to get some wins that other way playing the other teams now. You're
exactly right. Wins and losses right now don't mean a whole lot unless you've pulled an upset or you've been upset. The way the schedule's set up, such a Valere, if you'd offer, I'm sure they wouldn't say that to you out loud, but if somebody said, hey, 1-2 after the first 3 games, will you take it? They would probably say, you know what, I think we'll take that and run because we know it's set up from here on out. We've got a great shot at the playoffs. Same time, Fairfield, they have to go 3-0. They had to go 3-0 with those 3 teams they were playing in order to even give themselves a shot. So right now, looking at Fairfield 3-0, Central Valere 1-2, it's a 2-game lead, but it's not like baseball. We know that playing the round robin schedule, what comes around goes around, and when Cesar Valere and Fairfield meet, I think in Week 6, that's going to be a huge game.
Week 6 it is with the Mules. Actually, Week 7, the Mules will host the Red Devils at the train yard. Looking around, obviously it's El Dorado, Chester, and then Fairfield's going to have something to say maybe in the Black Diamond. We switched to the river to river, and I've never seen such a muddled mess in a while. The Ohio division will start off first. Harrisburg's the only team with a winning record at 2-1, and the rest of the Cats are under 500. I mean, is as muddled as it can be with Harrisburg?
Yeah, it is. But I've got to tip my hat to River. They are not afraid to play people. They go out and they play great competition. Take Herring, for example. What they've done with their schedule at 1-2, they're sitting pretty right now, starting their conference season. I think that people are saying the River is down this year, and it might be a little bit, but I'm going to tell you what, they're getting better each week. The competition they're playing, and it's going to be awfully interesting, I think.
I misspoke. I believe everybody in Ohio division has a losing record, in fact, because I don't think anybody's got a winning record. I got to look here. Now I'm all messed up here. Yeah, nobody has a winning record in the Ohio division because Harrisburg lost last night, Benton lost last night, Massac lost last night. Nobody with a winning record over on that side. You go over to Mississippi, Carterville is distancing themselves, running away at 3-0, beating teams of all comers. St. Joe Ogden at home last week in a tight one, beat an Apollo Conference team in Salem last night, handily on the road. Anybody, is AJ competition for them, or is it just Carterville in a walkthrough as far as the Lions are concerned this year?
I never count out AJ and Deidre down there. They do such a tremendous job, and they're a well-coached outfit that gets better every week. But that's what I like about Carterville. I saw some polls in Week 1 against Benton. I knew they were fixable when I saw them, and I knew what kind of coaching staff Carterville has. And what they've done is they've gotten better each week, just like you should. The thing that worries me about Carterville is maybe the AJ game is the last competitive game left on their schedule, and it's awfully tough to keep improving when you're playing teams that just aren't near as good as you are week in, week out.
Looking forward to next, let's connect this South 7. Carbondale's 3-0. Centralia is off to a 3-0 start again. They meet next week up at Centralia. Mount Vernon's improved to 2-1. Marion's back over 500, 2-1. Is has the balance returned to the South 7 right now with everybody playing as well as they are?
It sure looks like it. I'm not sure about Carbondale yet, what they've got. They've played 3 schools that are quite a bit smaller than they are, if I'm not mistaken. And they're still an unknown quantity. I know that running back they have is special. I love what Coach Shaner's done at Mount Vernon, resurrecting them, and they're 2-1 right now. Marion keeps on keeping on. It's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see some very competitive games now. The conference schedule starting here next week, I think.
Coach Rushing has not decided where he's going yet. He's looking at a few games. He doesn't know where he's going. If you look to where you're going next week in Week 4?
I know it's going to be river to river. I've seen what I wanted at the Black Diamond until the championships played in Week 8, if you know what I mean. And I think that the river to river is very interesting right now, and I've got nailed down to a couple of places. So I'm not sure where Coach Rushing's thinking. Is he thinking river to river, or is he going to go about 7, or what you going to do?
I don't know. I'll get a good idea on him tomorrow when we play golf. But if I hear any info from him earlier, I'll text you, give you a scoop, so that way you guys can, you can get the first choice.
Right now, the Benton-Heron game has got me intrigued. I think that Heron showed what they could do last night, of course, against DuQuoin. Benton stubbed their toe, so Benton's in a must-win at home against the Heron team. That looks like a pretty interesting game to me.
Benton's in a situation, I think, speaking of them, you bring them up, they almost had to win that game last night. That was almost like a playoff game for them to win, because I think after that loss now, they've really got to do some things now that they did too much pressure. 5 wins doesn't get them in at their playoff points right now. They've got to win 5 of their next 7, in my opinion.
You're thinking like a coach now. That's very true. As a coach, you look at games that you know that we've got to have that one, and it might be in week 2, and you know you're in trouble. Even though, let's say Fairfield, right now they're 3-0. If they had lost, let's say they lost to CPR week 1, that was a playoff game for them week 1. If they had stubbed their toe there and went into what they're going to have to play here the next 6 weeks at 2-1, they'd have been in serious trouble. So coaches know what those games are, and you're right about that. The Pinckneyville game was a game that Benton really had to have. So now they've got to spring an upset. They're going to have to beat a Heron or beat a Harrisburg.
Of course, talking about upsets and things that have upset me as we go into our WMIX Sports social media question, I was all excited, and I'll get to the question first before I make my point. We want to know if you were the executive producer, say, of NBC Sports, and it was up to you to pick the artist that got to sing or compose the Sunday Night Football theme. We want to know who you would choose, because I was somewhat upset. I was happy they ditched Faith Hill, went with Carrie Underwood, thought, oh, we'll get something new. They just ripped off Joan Jett again. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. They ripped her off again. Who would you pick?
Well, if they're so in love with the Joan Jett songs, why not Joan Jett?
Amen.
That's what. Yes. Right.
Why not?
I mean, what's she done to anybody? But
right.
I mean, but is that who you would go with, or is there somebody that you would have in mind?
I don't have a knee-jerk reaction there, but you brought up a good point. I mean, they're going to go for Joan Jett songs. They're good songs. Heck yeah, Joan Jett.
I know you watched last week, because I know if football's football, but I mean, it just seemed like to me it was a remake, and it wasn't even close to being like a top 20 hit. That Carrie Underwood's out there forcibly faking her way through it as the new voice of that thing. It didn't look like she was very comfortable out there selling it that, hey, I'm a football fan, I'm really jacked about doing this on every Sunday night.
Yeah, you'd think they could do a lot better than that. I don't know. I'm still trying to remake Faith Hill there and go with a blonde country singer or what. But you guys got me out of the realm of my expertise here. I don't know much about that. That's my opinion.
Coach, we appreciate the time, as always, every week. The original WMIX sports correspondent. We can't wait to talk to you again next week.
Hey, thanks, fellas.
That is John Shadowitz, again, WMIX sports correspondent. And what perturbs me the most, first of all, I thought it was hilarious because it's good karma. Because I don't remember the awards show that it was. I can't remember if it was the CMAs or the Grammys. I think it might have been the Grammys when Carrie Underwood, I think, might have taken like Best Female Artist or Best Female Vocalist, or a category like that. And Faith Hill just had this horrid reaction on camera.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Karma. I think that's funny, but unfortunately it sucks. It's not good. It's awful. Bad.
I don't know. I'm still thinking about who I would pick. I have multiple options. I mean, I'll go a step further. And we've already asked this question moons ago. How Bruno Mars is your Super Bowl entertainment at halftime, I have no idea.
We will get to that,
That's
too.
He's a good singer, but is he really Super Bowl material yet?
I don't know about
that. 2
that.
songs in.
I'm going to tell you this.
Tell me.
Kurt Simon still to come on the Saturday Sports Show. We'll give you our insight that probably isn't very insightful to the music scene a little bit later on in the 9 o'clock hour here on the Saturday Sports Show, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Have you been by Second Chance Auto lately? The selection is amazing. Their lot is full of great-looking, dependable cars, trucks, SUVs, and vans. Family-owned for the past 33 years, Second Chance Auto is the cure for summer new car fever. No one has a better selection of nice vehicles priced under $10,000. Almost all their vehicles come with a generous 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty. There are no dock fees, no shipping fees, no processing fees, and absolutely no gimmicks. Just honest deals at low prices. Second Chance Auto, Route 142 East in Mount Vernon. Call 244-4582. Second Chance Auto.
This is Steve Savard from Peoria to Paducah, Evansville to St. Louis. This is your home for Rams football. AM 940 WMIX, Mount Vernon. A free service from Withers Broadcasting.
Protect yourself and the ones you love by getting a flu shot at the Medicine Shop Pharmacy. It's the smart and healthy thing to do. Just walk right in. No appointment is necessary, and no prescription from your doctor is required. The shot is no cost to Medicare primary beneficiaries with Part B. Here's pharmacist and pharmacy owner Eric Black.
We have a seasonal flu shot event, which is not just one day, but usually 4 or 5 days that we schedule nurses to come in and give shots. I can also give shots to anybody who can't make those specific days, for example.
The Medicine Shop is also offering flu shot clinics. Here are the dates. Get your flu vaccine between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Tuesday, September 24th, and Thursday, October 3rd, Monday, October 7th, and Tuesday, October 8th. If you're homebound, every effort will be made to schedule a home visit. Call us if you require this service. The Medicine Shop Pharmacy, 2339 Broadway in Mount Vernon, or call 618-242-8776.
High school sports are back, and your source for scores is WMIXsports.com. Also, find archived local sports broadcasts, video highlights, national sports headlines, and more right at your fingertips. Listen and watch live WMIX sports broadcasts from your desktop or any mobile device. Need a score? Want to see a sick dunk? Miss a game? Didn't get up in time for the Saturday sports show? That's right, it's all at WMIXsports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting, WMIXsports.com.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX and WMIXsports.com, all powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
You betcha. Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski, Jeff Crow in studio with us. Don't forget the WMIX Sports social media question. It's on Facebook and Twitter right now. We welcome to the program Kurt Simon. He is the head coach of the victorious Carmi-White County Bulldogs, 46-20 winners over Johnston City. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Big win last night by 26 over the Indians of Johnston City, who are now 0-3. Your team, of course, over 500 at 2-1. A game back of Fairfield, Chester, and El Dorado. But right back at the top are the Carmi-White County Bulldogs. I imagine you have to feel pretty good this morning.
Feel real good. Feels a lot better than it did last Saturday morning, that's for sure.
Well, last week a tough loss. Of course, extenuating circumstances off the field going on last week, but a 2-1 start. And last night you were mentioned in a local newspaper saying you wanted to get the running game going. You racked up 327 yards. As a coach, setting up a plan and executing that plan, how does that make a coach feel when you take care of business like that?
Oh, I tell you what, when you talk about it all week and you talk about trying to be physical and we got to be able to run the football and stop the run and all that stuff, and when a plan comes together, it sure makes you feel good and gives you a sense of accomplishment, like you're going in the right direction. So it's one of those games last night where, the first series we actually drove the ball, got 2 or 3 first downs, and then had a couple penalties and had to punt. But after that, it was just like we drew it up.
Like you drew it up. Of course, Chase Saylor, a senior, is going to get a lot of your ink and a lot of stuff going on as far as your team. But other guys stepped up last night to help you out. Brandon Pollard was one of them. Talk about your other kids that stepped up here last night and over the season helping out Chase Saylor and your Carmi Bulldogs.
Well, traditionally here, we have, this has happened numerous times, but the other 2 kids in the backfield, when we're in our full house backfield or whatever you want to call it, are 2 guards from last year. And they're talented kids. They're got good speed and strong, but we've always had unselfish kids, and a lot of times, they haven't played running back since their freshman year. They've been up front or whatever, and that's where Brandon played the last 2 years. He's been up on the line of scrimmage, and Tyson Russell is the other one. He was also up on the line of scrimmage last year. And they come back and really give us a, whatever you want to call it, a 1-2-3 punch, so to speak. They all possess certain abilities as far as strength or speed or quickness, and really help out people not being able to just zone in on one kid. And kind of like it was a few years ago when we had Logan Rogers. We had Logan Rogers, and that was it. And now we got three different threats from back there. Also got another guy named Logan Weller that doesn't quite get as many touches from the backfield, but we can always use him in there because he's had a heck of a couple games also.
Looking at the rest of your schedule over the next 6 weeks, you have 4 of those 6 games on the road, starting with back-to-backs at Chester and at Fairfield. In general, in the Black Diamond, obviously 3 teams are undefeated. You got El Dorado, Chester, and Fairfield. Your team's at 2-1. Things are going to sort themselves out. Is there more balance this year than in the past, you think?
Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say this early in the year. We always talk about a top tier and a middle tier and all that stuff. I know, we've played one of them so far, and that was El Dorado. That at the beginning of the year, people talked about Carmi, Chester, and El Dorado probably being up there in that top tier, and they're a darn good football team, and I think they're a legit football team. They got all the pieces in place, and very physical, got good size, got good athletes running and catching the ball. I think Chester is very similar, and I think you can see that, the one that nobody really had a whole lot of predictions about was Cesar, and I think they're going to be right up there. So I think, when you see possibly, look at that score last night, the Chester score, I think it was a close game for a long time, and there might, maybe this is a year that the conference champions got a loss. But it's kind of early to predict all that, I think.
You get to go to Chester next week for that road game next Friday night. At this point, Chester, have you seen them on video? What kind of things do you expect for next week's game at Chester?
Have not seen them on, we're going to get the video here in an hour or so, but I know they're a well-coached team. They play awfully hard. They swarm to the football as good as anybody. We know they got, there's a Clendenin boy and a couple other real fast kids in the backfield. I think Coach Lee does an excellent job with them, getting them motivated to play hard, and so we expect a hard-fought football game just like it's been the last 2 years. And the team that probably the team that makes the most mistakes or that gives up that one big play or doesn't have as many possessions is probably going to be the one that comes out short. So long bus ride. We just hope we don't get any lightning like we did last year.
Amen to that. And of course, our final question, as always, is the WMIX Sports social media question. And this week, it's a little bit music-based along with football. Assuming that you were the executive producer of NBC Sports with Sunday Night Football, of course, they made the change this year with Carrie Underwood singing the theme song, which is basically just a Joan Jett ripoff. But who would you have? Which artist would you choose to perform the Sunday Night Football theme?
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what, and this may be just an old school guy, but I kind of like I like which they just go back to Hank, the big Hank.
There you go.
There's nothing wrong with that. We've had Jared Shaner of Mount Vernon. He took Bob Dylan. He went completely off mark and got him. So it's okay to bring Hank back.
I mean, I always liked Hank. I thought that was kind of etched in your mind or whatever when that TV come on. That I can't wait to see what he's got, blasting his whatever going on. So I'd probably say let's just go back to Hank. Don't if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And, of course, the Bulldogs with Chester next week. Coach, we wish you the best of luck against the Yellow Jackets.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. That's Kurt Simon at the Carmi White County Bulldogs. And going back, old school with Hank. Hank is so obviously such a legend. He has his own format named after him these days, of course, with classic country. So there you go. A return to the roots of the original, I would say, performer of a song.
I have seen the Hank Williams Sr. Museum.
Have you?
Yeah, Montgomery, Alabama. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Can't beat that.
Yep.
Can't beat Tim Kuhn and the Nashville Hornets, who got a win last night over West Frankfort. We'll talk with Coach after the break here on the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Yep, back after these.
This is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. It's been said that in order to grow, you have to change. Very rarely anymore do insurance companies ask the phrase to go out and get 3 estimates. The new phrase insurance companies are asking is, would you like to take your vehicle to one of our direct repair facilities? This is a way for your insurance company and collision repair center to help relieve the stress you may have from your unfortunate incident. And, as Landers Collision Centers has adapted to this forever-changing industry, we are extremely happy to announce that we are a direct repair facility for over 10 different insurance companies. It's likely that one of them is yours. From dealing with your insurance company, setting you up with a rental vehicle, lifetime warranty on repairs, and of course, Landers Free, lifetime detailing for qualified customers, Landers Collision Centers literally takes the stress from your incident and turns it back into a shiny new ride for you to enjoy again. Landers is here for you whenever you need us. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Wilt. I want to thank Mount Vernon and the surrounding area for continuing to support us over the past 5 years. If you have never sat down with someone to go over your insurance program, let me invite you into our office. Let us show you what working with the industry leader, represented by a local agent, can do for you. I'm located just off 42nd Street. You can reach our office 24 hours a day at 242-1421 or on the web at tonywilt.com. Thanks again, and go Rams.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX and WMIXSports.com. It's all powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Big win last night for the Nashville Hornets over the West Frankfort Redbirds. Of course, you can find that score on WMIXSports.com. It's along with the rest of our scores. Or I can just tell you it was 50-23, the victorious Hornets. Tim Kuhn joins us now. Coach, good morning.
Good morning.
Have to feel pretty good. Week 3 rivalry matchup between the Redbirds and the Hornets been going on for years, and the Hornets get that big 50-23 win last night.
I'm just really proud of the boys. They did a great job at handling both sides of the ball and really came to play last night.
Dominating performance last night running the football. Quade Novak with 24 carries, 198 yards. Hunter Schultz also ran 17 times for 150 and 2 touchdowns. Had to be very pleasing for your running game to pick up and get going like it did against a West Frankfort team that can throw up some points.
Yeah, we talked about all week about establishing what we do on offense and working the clock and putting ourselves in good situations in second and third down, and I think we were able to do that.
Especially able to do that, jumped on them early. Of course, Frankfort got out to the lead, a 28-point second quarter for your football team. You did a great job jumping out and really putting the game away then. What was the keys in that second quarter to get you 4 touchdowns?
I think we did a huge fourth down stop, deep in our own end, and we just turned the corner from there. I think that just built the momentum, brought it back to our side, and the kids took it from there.
Of course, your team had a very tough loss in Week 1 and at first of 2 Route 127 games with Carlisle. And then, of course, last week you took a moderate A team who's 2-0 now to only lost 14-0. Improvement coming around here for your team as you head into conference play. How pleased are you with the progress right now heading into Week 4?
Well, I think we're getting to where we can be, but I think we can always be better. We keep talking about that as well. We'll get better every day and see what happens on Friday.
Seeing what happens on Friday, you host Anna Jonesboro this Friday. And, of course, the Wildcats come in at 3-0 at this early stage. Have you seen anything or know anything about the Wildcats at this point?
Coach Dietering does such a fine job down there. 13 years in the playoffs, and I just have the utmost respect for what they do. AJ's going to be AJ. You've got them and DuQuoin and a couple others in our conference that year in, year out, they're going to be good.
Young guys, of course, on your team, and learning with experience last night, of course, the losses and then that win last night. Your young guys, are they learning how to play under that Friday night lights rather than a Thursday night or a Monday night? How are they progressing in that aspect of the game?
I think they're liking Friday night lights. They truly do. We talk about it all the time. The Monday and Thursday games are very important, but Friday games are the ones everybody remembers.
Of course, your second year back at the helm in Nashville, of course, the Router River, Mississippi, where everybody seems to be on a roll at the top right now. And, of course, you have Anna Jonesboro, as aforementioned. They come in 3-0. But a big win last night. How important is that to get that Week 3 victory and start to turn things back to the winning track?
Oh, it's just huge. We talked about momentum all week as well. And I said, we got to get started. We got to get started and play fast. And then hopefully we carried over into Week 4.
Final question for you. We know you got a busy morning, of course, getting film, and, of course, going on with our friend Bo Meyer on his sports show. And, of course, you better bring your peanut M&Ms for him, keep him happy. We kid. Our question this week is, who would you have be the singer for the theme song of NBC's Sunday Night Football?
Who would I have sing?
Yeah, who would you pick?
I would have our O-line, B-line specialist, Coach Dan Wolf. I think he'd do an outstanding job with it.
Really? What does he sing? What is his thing to do?
Oh, you got to hear it. I can't even describe it. It's a voice like an angel.
Why, really? Well,
Oh, yes.
Is there a possibility we get him recorded on our sister station, V1047, get some songs going?
I think it's something to look into, definitely.
Give him a few extra spins in the rotation over there on the V. But, Coach, best of luck this coming week against the AJ Wildcats, and congrats on the win last night against Frankfurt.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
That is Tim Cooner of the Nashville Hornets. Clint Turner is scheduled to join us now on the Saturday Sports Show here in just a moment. But you think about our social media question, it's still up there.
Yes, still there.
For discussion. Do we continue to rip off Joan Jett?
Or
do you go
why
original
can't Joe Jett
composition?
get some love? I don't understand.
Well, somebody did say Joan Jett on our Facebook page.
Yeah. You got to
I
find
still don't
somebody who can
have
rip
an
it.
answer. If I'm going to go original composition, I allow those who have produced the well, I'm not talking about advertising. Those that have produced the NFL films, scores, and soundtracks, and Sprint Right, which if you look it up and look for it on YouTube, you'll know that's the branding music of the NFL. I mean, that is just majestic. But if you're not looking for that, I mean, if you're looking, I guess, if you're just going to rip off another artist, just go stock music at that point. One of those commercial music beds or something. But I can't decide on an act. Bruno, I don't know. Bruno Mars, halftime, you got to be kidding me. But just go back to Faith if that's what you're going to do. I hated that too, but
I thought Pink
she
was
looked into
good.
it. And I forgot all about Pink. Pink's my woman, so that's
Pink,
okay.
at the beginning, had the vocal chords, to match Joan Jett, point blank. If you're not going to let Joan Jett go, then you got to have somebody that can rip it like that. And Pink is about the only one right now that can rip a note like that. Carrie Underwood and Faith Hill are the cutesy singers, and they don't have that voice range to get to a Joan Jett. That or make them write something on their own.
If we have to stick to a female with good pipes, and you can't do Pink because I'm sure there was an image issue there. I mean, let's just get to the bottom of that. There was probably an image issue there somehow. Wanting that wholesome, folksy country artist. Give me one of the Wilsons from Heart. If I have to go female with pipes, don't give me Linda Ronstadt either because that's just 70s AC waiting to happen. But maybe the Wilsons. Not of Wilson Phillips either, but from Heart.
Okay. I think if it's original and you let the original person who wrote it
No, that's
come
a
off
different
of
story.
it, it's got to be Joan Jett. If you're going to say Joan Jett's going to get some money out of it and she wants somebody to sing it and you got to have somebody to match that type of music, you're either going to have to go old school Pat Benatar where somebody can rip it, or you're going to have to let Pink go. I'll throw another one out that could do it, but she's not known for having a lot of pumped-up football kind of songs as Martina McBride. If you're going to go along that genre of female country singers. But they've got to do something. I'm not into this Carrie Underwood thing. Not into it.
I'm not for what they're doing. Get the artist out of the video, have them produce a song, pay them their royalties each and every week, and be done with it. I don't have to see them. It's a theme. Do a video montage of highlights from the season. And I know it's different to do what they're doing. You have, I forget who it used to be. Who was it? They used to run with the helmet and it went along like a brick wall and destroyed all the bricks and stuff. Who cares? I don't like that. Just do a montage, get the artist out of it, whoever it is, and then that way you can do like a Heart. Because you're not seeing them.
You're trying to fit someone into a song they can't do.
Right.
Carrie Underwood can't do Joan Jett.
She
cannot.
can't?
Faith
No.
Hill can't do Joan Jett.
No.
So let Joan Jett do it or make the artist write the original song.
Joan Jett is Joan Jett for a reason. And the Blackhearts are the Blackhearts for a reason. That was their song. It has been sampled. It has been done to death. It has been awful each and every time. Go back to Pink or give me Heart. There we go. What's your answer again?
I'm going with Joan Jett sing this current version, or have an artist rewrite a song so they fit into that type of song.
Crow is onto something with Toby Keith as well. I mean, if you're going to go the country route, you might as well go with somebody like that.
I mean,
adult beverages and football.
And then you get into Bruno Mars. I'm almost floored. How do you go from Sir Paul McCartney, Bruce Springsteen,
U2 and
U2,
O2, the 9/11 names?
You
scrolling
go
in
all
the
the way
background?
through, and then Bruno Mars. What?
I have no
It's
idea.
a different. I know they're trying to get current.
I don't,
He's
and I have
got,
nothing
like,
against Bruno Mars.
I don't
if you're
either,
gonna go
but
that
that's
type
not
of
something I'd
caliber,
look forward to.
you might as well go my boy Tayo Cruz at that point. If you're gonna go that. But anyhow, Clint Turner running Rams cross country still to come here. Big season thus far for the running Rams. They got first at the Murphy Invite a couple of weeks ago. Last week they got third, which when you're behind Edwardsville and that caliber, you pretty well got first at the Granite City Invitational last week. So it'll be Clint Turner to join us here on the Saturday Sports Show powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
I'm Brian May with a look. Your next round weather. A pleasant day today with plenty of sunshine. High today 74. Clear and chilly tonight. Low 44 to 48. Tomorrow sunny to partly cloudy and pleasant. High tomorrow 80. Monday a morning shower or thunderstorm around. Otherwise cloudy to partly sunny skies. High Monday 76. Next round weather from WMIX Mount Vernon, Illinois.
This is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. It's been said that in order to grow, you have to change. Very rarely anymore do insurance companies ask the phrase to go out and get 3 estimates. The new phrase insurance companies are asking is, would you like to take your vehicle to one of our direct repair facilities? This is a way for your insurance company and collision repair center to help relieve the stress you may have from your unfortunate incident. And, as Landers Collision Centers has adapted to this forever-changing industry, we are extremely happy to announce that we are a direct repair facility for over 10 different insurance companies. It's likely that one of them is yours. From dealing with your insurance company, setting you up with a rental vehicle, lifetime warranty on repairs, and of course, Landers free lifetime detailing for qualified customers, Landers Collision Centers literally takes the stress from your incident and turns it back into a shiny new ride for you to enjoy again. Landers is here for you whenever you need us. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
Mount Vernon is home to many wonderful people and things, and that includes quality cardiac care from Dr. Ruzaik Ibrahim. A skilled cardiologist, Dr. Ibrahim's training and scientific accomplishments have earned his designation as a Fellow of the American College of Cardiology. His services range from preventative care to the treatment of advanced heart conditions. For an appointment with Dr. Ibrahim at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 241-9071 or visit in person at 4113 South Water Tower, Mount Vernon.
Back on the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX. WMIX.
Does that go out?
.com. Yes.
Did it? That'd be tough.
That's fine.
Nobody knows what we're talking about.
Maybe not. Maybe they do. Saturday Sports Show, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
You bet it is. We're glad to be joined now. He is the head coach of Running Rams Cross Country, Clint Turner. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
What a great start to the season, in my opinion. You get a big win at the Murfreesboro Invitational. I believe David Moddert took the individual win there. And then last week you go run it at Granite City. You get third place, but it's behind O'Fallon and Edwardsville, which, in my opinion, is almost like getting first.
Well, we don't want to make them Superman, but they got 2 pretty good programs there, and I think O'Fallon's like rated number 2 in the state of Illinois right now with the big schools, and Edwardsville I think in the top 10 or 11. So they've got things going on, and yes, we had a good day. We've had a good start to the season.
Speaking
so we just want to keep it rolling.
Speaking of that season, and I know cross country is determined by the weather. Today is perfect cross country weather, I'm sure. But then in the summer, it's a cool, wet summer. There really wasn't a lot of hot days, and we had that miserable stretch here about a week or 2 ago. How does that affect a cross-country runner with all the weather changes that we've been having and the odd weather that we've been having around Southern Illinois this year?
Well, obviously the heat is, it's a killer. Literally, it can get you into trouble. And I don't know if you heard, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, Metro East Lutheran out of Edwardsville, they host a big opening Class A Invitational, and they run on the Edwardsville course, which is, for most of those people, their sectional course. Well, they ran the girls in the heat of about, 110 degrees, heat index, which was silly. And they ended up carting off, I think, at least 15, 20 girls to the hospital. And then they wised up and didn't even run the guys. They had the guys on the start line. They got the coaches together, and they decided to shut it down. So
to answer your question, the heat's terrible. I mean, it can really, you got to be careful. And the IHSA has come around to that, not just in our sports, but in all sports. And you got to be smart as a coach. Now, we try to stay away from it. Once the heat was going and once school started, we go to evening practices. I mean, we're meeting at 6:30, and we finished the other night. I had a flashlight out directing guys. We were running up Victoria Hill in Queens Lake, and I couldn't even see the guys at the bottom when they started, so they were just following my flashlight when I was doing things. So those are the kind of things you got to do.
Well, and a very successful program, of course, over your tenure at Mount Vernon High School, and taking a look at the season as it progresses. Of course, some changes to the schedule, though, where you found out that you're in the Highland Regional sectional courses in Decatur, but you have a pretty big quad, it looks like, coming up on Tuesday at SIU with Centralia, Carbondale, and Marion. Then you head to Albany, Springfield, Peoria. So always a tough stretch of the schedule there for the Running Rams.
Yeah, and the success we've had at this point, I tell the guys, it's proven that what we've done in the early part of the season has been right, or at least it's been successful. Have we worked a little harder than some people? Yeah, probably. But it's just the first step, literally the first step, and a couple other big steps we have to take. And the next couple big steps to deal with these 4 meets coming up. And we really, at this point, are pushing ourselves towards a good performance at Peoria, which is our state meet course. So, Granite City is a flat course. It's very fast. Those are usually your fastest times of the year on a 3-mile course until we go to Peoria. So in order for us to really see where we're at as a team and comparative to other teams in our sectional, Peoria is the place to find that out. The Murfreesboro meet gets you a good look at all of Southern Illinois. The Granite City meet gets you a good look at our sectional, and plus we run some of the big schools as well. So, so far 2 tests we've passed that, but we hoped we would. And now the idea is, okay, next step. Let's see if we can pass the next couple tests.
Of course, with a win this year and a single-digit finish at Granite City for David Moddard, he is not the only one successful for running Rams cross country. Talk about some of your other kids as well.
Well, yeah, David's off to a good start, and he's got some experience running at the that kind of tempo, that kind of pace. I think Jordan Wildman is the guy. He's really going to start to shine. And just watching him in workouts, he's just steps away from David in doing things. I think he is just really ready to take off in his senior year, and he's a guy that's put a lot of time and effort into the sport, and I'm hoping he'll just really go. But all of our top 5 guys, which are all veteran guys that ran varsity last year, Ethan Badger's running really, really well, and he's just, he's not your typical body type cross country guy. He would be more like a guy you'd think would be in the backfield of a football team. He's just tough and hangs in and likes to compete. Daniel Flood, who's another junior, strength-wise, maturity-wise, he's just coming around now and running right there with the other 4. And then probably the most athletic and the guy that just, the good Lord put a lot of talent to in Brykel Patton. He hurdled for us a lot in track season, so he didn't run a lot of distance. So with that being, he's kind of catching up, but he's getting there. He's catching up, and so those 5 guys, I think, right now are pretty solid. But I'm proud of these 3 young kids we've got. Tyler Williams is a sophomore, and he's just improved a lot. And he's obviously going to have to contribute at the varsity level as a sophomore. Hagen Schneider, who's a freshman from Field, just hadn't had a lot of miles under him, have a lot of conditioning yet, and he's starting to come on. And then Jordan Hubbard, who's a junior who moved in last year, he's just kind of figuring the program out. And he's been fighting some strep throat the last 10 days, so he's kind of been knocked down a notch. But all those guys I mentioned, those are our 8 guys in our program, just really running well, doing a good job.
Shifting gears, as everything's going so well in cross country, we're going to go into another topic that's a favorite of yours, is Major League Baseball. And we know now it's getting down to crunch time. Only a couple week of games are left on the schedule. Your thoughts on anything that's catching your eye as far as the MLB season's going?
Well, I think with the Cardinals, experience, I think, will play out there. They've been in the wars. They've been in the battles. And you got Yadier Molina leading the whole charge. I mean, what kind of game did he have last night? If that guy's not the MVP, I don't know who is. You put him on any team, they improve immensely. I mean, Jimmy Christmas, he throws out 2 guys last night and kills that whole, ability of the Mariners maybe to steal a game and just, boy, what a player, he's going to be one of those guys on the Cardinal outfield one of these days, I think. Everywhere else, I'm not, you never know. Just watch and hang on. Those Yankees may surprise somebody. And I think they get in the playoffs, they could really cause some issues and upset some people. So. Never know. That's why it's fun this time of the year. I enjoy it.
The thing about the Yankees is you look at their lineup, and 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you'd be like, hey, I'd go to war with this group. But you're depending on a bunch of 40-year-olds or almost 40-year-olds to carry this team to the playoffs. I don't know how they've made it this far with the injuries and the suspensions and the issues they've had. I'm amazed at what Joe Girardi's done with a group of veterans that he's got.
Well, same thing with Cardinals. I mean, you've got veteran guys with experience, and when it gets down to crunch time, and it gets a little tight, and those guys say they're not watching scoreboards and things like that. They are.
Oh, yeah.
They know what's going on, and with all the media that's going out there nowadays, they know what's going on. And I'll take a veteran group more times than I would a young pup group that's kind of trying to, just earn their oats a little bit here.
Well, and of course, it's certainly been an interesting Major League Baseball season. Cross-country season's off to a hot start. Football season is finally here, and that brings us to our WMIX Sports social media question. And that is, if you were the executive producer of NBC Sports and it was your choice as to who was going to perform the Sunday Night Football theme, who would your artist be? Would you have stuck with Faith Hill, or originally it was Pink, or would you have gone to Carrie Underwood, or do you have somebody else in mind?
Well, that's Joan Jett's song.
Yes. It's been the point all
Why
morning.
not?
Thank you.
Get Joan Jett and the Blackhearts on there, and they'll rip it. I mean, she'll rip it.
Yes.
She's a veteran, but she's got the energy to do it.
Well,
now, if we were going to change things and put a different artist in there, let's get Neil Young all lathered up on his guitar and let him get out there and rock it. And you got to remember, that's old. Hank Jr. was the guy that got this all going. Let's put Neil Young out there and let him scratch that guitar out a little bit, and he'll get everybody juiced up too.
There you go. Well, rockin' the free world. Awesome stuff.
There you go. Use that Rockin' the Free World theme and just let him go.
Clint Turner, awesome. We appreciate it. Best of luck to the Runnin' Rams the rest of the way. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Clint Turner. Awesome. Crow actually just name-dropped Neil Young, of course, when we had Rockin' the Free World as our bump. Now I wish I'd have delayed that for Turner. Have the lead into that. Anyhow, that's all good.
Yeah.
Happens. Outstanding. Yeah. Finally, people get it.
You got to find the age bracket.
That's true. It's atypical. Because even I'm young. I'm a little young to know about Joan Jett.
Joan Jett.
Even I'm
flat
young.
brought it.
Yeah,
I'm okay. Now here's another one. Another Facebook post. Sammy Hagar,
the Red Rocker.
The Red
Big
Rocker's
in St. Louis.
independent. He could do it.
Cabo Wabo.
I mean, he could do it. I mean, and then again, when you go back and you look at Tim Kuhn, he picked his offensive-defensive line guy, Dan Wolf.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to find out about Dan Wolf and see what's going on there. I noticed at Nashville, Wayne Hari was not picked because I've seen him do the Harlem Shuffle.
Do you remember an old ESPN commercial back when they had Sunday Night Football? It had, like, Berman, Steve Young, and a bunch of guys in a karaoke establishment with some Asian fellows, and they were all singing and stuff.
Yeah.
That's how I picture Wayne Hari. Like Steve Young in that commercial.
Now that gives us to our transition. Are we going to mention the Super Bowl singer or not? Or we kind of run that?
Bruno Mars. I don't. Nice, Tyler Barker. Holograph of Freddie.
Holograph.
Yeah, I didn't see that one yet.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Oh, I heard you say it. I just didn't see it. It just now popped
Right.
up on my email.
Go ahead.
Holograph. That's pretty good. I see now. That's not as tough. Bruno, I don't get it. I understand what they're trying. They're trying to hit an entirely different demo.
Yeah.
Because what's been happening on and off is you'll have the other networks coming in with just specific halftime programming with countdowns. Actually, Fox is the one who started that with In Living Color one year. They had the countdown clock as to when halftime would be over, and actually stole some of the share that night. I forget who actually had the big game, but actually stole some of the share in the ratings. But I don't know what the answer is for the halftime show. I mean, I just think it's kind of lost its luster because it started out as a patriotic thing.
Right.
You know, before I was born, obviously. And before you were born.
I'm looking.
Before everybody was born, except for Crow.
Okay, let's go through this. Let's see. Michael Jackson.
That'd be a good show.
That
would have been a good show.
We had the Rockin' Country Sunday of
No,
Clint
thank
Turner, Tanya Tucker, Travis Tritt, and the Judds in '94. Oh, we had a mixed group of Indiana Jones and Temple of the Forbidden Eye theme. That was not good. Diana Ross, a celebration of 30 years of the Super Bowl. I don't remember. Blues Brothers Bash, ZZ Top, James Brown.
Well, there's been some awful halftimes, haven't there?
Well, they got back. Here's a celebration of Shaka Khan, Gloria Estefan, Stevie Wonder, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Kiss was in on that. Kiss at halftime would be great. Okay, Kiss would be great. And then they started getting it. You know, they had the Kings of Rock and Pop. I remember this: Aerosmith, Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige, and Nelly in 01. That wasn't bad.
I remember that.
That wasn't bad. U2, as we mentioned, we talked about it. Shania Twain, No Doubt.
All I know is the guy who should be getting a halftime show and will never be allowed on halftime again is Justin Timberlake.
Oh, yeah. Justin Timberlake should get one.
But he won't.
Thanks
We
to
all know
Janet
why.
Jackson in 04 in Texas. Oops.
Like you could.
Okay.
Never mind.
Then it's like 05. They started turning a corner in this. 05 was Sir Paul McCartney. To me, that's that was right up there. They brought the Stones out in 06 in Detroit, which made sense. Prince in 07 was pretty darn good. Tom Petty was in 08. Bruce Springsteen in 09, they knocked it out of the park. The Who in 2010 was not what I thought it would be. Black Eyed Peas would change the channel. I remember that one. That channel got changed.
That was bad. I'm a Black Eyed Peas guy.
Yeah.
At least one song.
Yeah. Then,
None of the
well,
popular
the only excitement that night was Slash came out, This Sweet Child of Mine.
Yes.
Madonna wasn't bad in 12.
Horrible.
I thought okay.
No.
But she's not a halftime singer.
No.
Beyonce and Destiny's Child, that was pretty good. I was impressed with that.
At this point, just go Elton John, Billy Joel, and be done with it. Right. Let them duel.
Bruno Mars, I'm like.
I don't dislike Bruno.
I don't dislike
but
Bruno either. But
he's not halftime. And Madonna's not halftime.
He's
Madonna
not had
can
enough
put on a good
songs.
show.
Yeah.
I don't remember if she did Like a Prayer. I think I was upset because she didn't do Like a
Well,
Prayer.
let's see
Or I
here.
missed it. But I remember that Super Bowl, kind of. So
Let's see. Vogue, Open Your Heart. She did Like a Prayer at the end. Where were you? It was CeeLo Green was out there. It's probably butchered it. That's true. But, yeah, she did Like a Prayer. Right.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. Bruno Mars is good in the next 5-10 years, but maybe not now yet.
No, he's still got something to prove.
Well, another group would be Bon Jovi, but they're fighting, so can't
Are
do
they
that
really?
one. Oh, yeah.
What,
Richie's been
Tico's
going
upset
since
with
about
everybody?
April.
I got you.
For whatever reason.
Ah.
That'd be a good group to bring. I mean, that'd be perfect because you got to have somebody, everybody knows the songs, and you can get 50, 60,000 going with it.
Yeah.
You'll have a small
How can you
group.
not have Billy Joel up in New York? Billy Joel and Elton John. Be done with it. Seriously.
Billy Joel would be good. I don't
Yeah.
understand why he wasn't picked.
Yeah.
Being that it's in New York, New Jersey anyway, I'm sure if Bon Jovi weren't
too.
mad, you could do it.
Yeah. But do both. All. Everybody. Good enough. We have one more break to take on the Saturday Sports. We'll come back, talk more local sports here, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Here's Jeff Schmidt for Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon.
At Schmidt Chevrolet, we're out to please the customer, and I think that we've got the best service department in town. There's nobody that takes care of their customers like we do at Schmidt Chevrolet. We've got great deals on tires, brakes, anything that you need for your car, we can provide them here. And that's just not on Chevrolets alone. We actually do routine maintenance on any type of vehicle.
Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon, 3423 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
What does technology sound like? Is it the clang of heavy machinery, the beeps and chirps of an electronic gadget? At the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center, technology sounds a little something like this.
It's the sound of a young girl excited because her mom's being released the same day as her minimally invasive surgery. Thanks to the Da Vinci surgical robot, our surgeons' hand motions are seamlessly translated into smaller, more precise movements. But surgery isn't the only way Good Samaritan is raising the bar for advanced healthcare in Southern Illinois.
That's the sound of a patient's health record being updated and stored electronically for immediate access by nurses, primary care doctors, and specialists alike. That's why soon, the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center will use all electronic patient health records. Less paper translates to faster, better care for you. And that sounds a little something like this.
The new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center, raising a hospital, raising the bar.
High school sports are back, and your source for scores is WMIXsports.com. Also, find archived local sports broadcasts, video highlights, national sports headlines, and more right at your fingertips. Listen and watch live WMIX sports broadcasts from your desktop or any mobile device. Need a score? Want to see a sick dunk? Miss a game? Didn't get up in time for the Saturday sports show? That's right, it's all at WMIXsports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting, WMIXsports.com.
Admittedly, when I programmed that in, I had no idea what song it was. This is the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXsports.com. Powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
You betcha it is. WMIX Sports social media question has drawn a lot of discussion. Participate on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. I don't know if you've heard this before. We're on the Twitterverse as well. Give us a follow at WMIX Sports. You can tweet your answer there if you'd like. If you're the EP, executive producer of NBC Sports, again, if you were choosing the artist, whether it be an original composition or continuing to unmercifully rip off Joan Jett, who would your artist of choice be? We've had a few Joan Jett mentions.
References, yeah.
I mean, people actually say Joan Jett. Why not? You don't have to show her. I'm not sure what Joan's looking like these days. Actually, I think I saw a recent picture.
It's not, I mean,
yeah, it's Joan Jett.
It's Joan Jett.
Yeah, I mean, she looks the same, just older.
Right.
Yeah, anyhow. High school football last night. It's full scoreboard on WMIXsports.com, statewide, at least in the lower half of the state as far as the major conferences we like to follow. Non-conference Ram future opponents. It's all up there for your viewing. Of course, the Rams got a big 48-21 win over Triad last night. Not surprised by that at all. I think we knew after the Rochester game. We knew coming into the season. We knew after Rochester. 32-6, believe it or not, told us a lot.
And wait, Rochester's played last 2 weeks.
Yes. We knew last week. We had a good feeling the Rams were going to pick up their first win. After seeing that, I think we pretty well knew they were going to win last night. Had a good feeling.
I would say most people that know the 4A, 5A level were picking Mount Vernon.
Right.
There were probably some people still have skepticism about Mount Vernon, so they probably weren't. I'm not saying Mount Vernon was an overwhelming favorite last night based on the Triad reputation. Now that Mount Vernon beat Triad and they're 2-1, I still say they're an underdog next week at All Top.
Yes.
This is the first game, as I've said before and we'll say again next Friday night. This is the first game where you're not a favorite that you have to win if you want to turn the program. This is, again, when you're rebuilding a program, you got to turn things around on the field, off the field, then on the field, and then you got to win a game you're not supposed to win. This is number one. And then when you do that, then another corner in the program's turned.
Exactly.
Big week, though.
And now everybody heads into week 4.
Conference play everywhere now, as far as the 3 conferences down here.
Exactly.
Did you see the poor old Apollo conference last night?
Good point by Eric Lee from
Yes.
ESPN Radio Decatur last night on Twitter. I did see that. A good dude. Actually sat next to him, the Woodlawn Macon Meridian game on the baseline there. We were next to each other, which is usually never good when you have 2 play-by-play guys next to each other because then your audio feeds over each other. But anyhow, here nor there, good dude.
Right.
And a great point that they went 0-6 last night. And now you head into conference play in the Apollo. And you have Effingham at Chucktown, Mount Zion at Mattoon, and Paris at Salem. And Paris and Salem, both teams in back-to-back weeks had trouble against Clifton Central up there in Chicagoland. So you take a look at the Apollo, Effingham and Charleston both struggling. Mount Zion, Mount Toon can put up numbers. Paris and Salem both struggling. So this is probably the most interesting week of the Apollo Conference.
Probably. Should be. But that's a conference that's spinning their wheels a little bit. The Valley's got Highland. Looks like Highland and everybody else.
Highland had put up 6.
Maybe Muscuda will give them a run.
Muscuda could. And you take a look at the rest of the Valley. I mean, Jersey has had some success recently and tasting some success.
Average.
Civic has
Civic's
struggled.
Down. Triad's down. Muscuda's better.
Waterloo thumped by Carbondale last night with Muscuda. And Muscuda having beaten Althoff might be coming in on a high. That's back at home for the Indians.
Right.
That would probably be my game of the week in the Valley if I had to pick one. Highland, Jersey should be interesting. Highland, decent defense.
Highland's looking at a number 1 seed in 5A somewhere.
Sure.
That they're looking at least a high seed as far, depending on how they break it down, 16 or 32.
On the up and up. My snoozer, sleeper, not in a bad way, is probably Civic Triad in the Valley.
How's it? If it's a snoozer, how's it good?
I meant sleeper.
Oh, okay.
I just had the wrong word.
Oh, okay. I was like, so what?
I mean, it has the potential to be a good, bad game.
Right.
Bad, something like
yes.
that. You got me. Then we have the Diamond, of course, coming back to the 3 that we focused on. And you take a look there. Obviously, they've been in conference play the entire season. But you have Carmi Chester. That actually has the potential to be pretty good.
Carmine leave on Wednesday, get there on Friday.
And the horse's name was Friday.
And they'll ride around on the river. They could take the river. They could take the Wabash down the Ohio, across the Mississippi.
Let's go on a tugboat, steamboat.
And all kidding aside, that is a long trip. I don't know who you are, but Chester's won 12 games in a row on the Diamond. Interesting to see if they get to 13 there at W.O. Smith Field.
And then you have...
That's a great atmosphere for football. Good night. You ever been there, Chester?
No.
Oh, wow.
I've heard about it.
It's a great atmosphere. That hill they have on the south side, man, it's awesome. Go ahead.
Really, as far as interesting games in the Diamond, CZR at Johnson City could be interesting.
Indians 0-3 for the first time since 97.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I mean, that could go either way. CZR struggling a little bit last night, El Dorado, but who doesn't struggle at El Dorado?
Alvarado across the state to El Dorado.
Potato, tomato game. Yep. I call that one.
The Red Devils are at Hamilton County. Hamilton County actually at Vienna today.
That's a winnable game. Red Devils are, I think if you look at the Red Devils schedule, they have a very good chance to make playoffs.
Yeah,
they got the big ones out of the way.
Well, and then you have other game in the Diamond, Vienna at Fairfield Friday night.
So Vienna wins today, which they should. And then Vienna goes to Fairfield next. That's an interesting game for both because neither one's really been tested yet. So here we go.
Let's go down. I'm going to go alphabetically here, just looking at the IHSA schedule. I'm not sure where you're at.
Where am I at?
In the Cahokia Conference, you have Carlisle at Central. I know. Carlisle should be the overwhelming favorite there.
That's a team to watch out for.
Redbud, Dupo. Redbud struggled out of the gate. Dupo lost last night to Columbia. That could actually probably be a good Cahokia Conference game. And then you have Rick Johns-led West Glen Warriors at Columbia, in which Columbia should probably be the favorite there.
Right, Columbia's got a nice facility. Drove by there a few months ago. Boy, it looks good, that turf and everything. They've done a good job. That's a good place to watch a football game, too, on the hill.
I don't doubt that. It looks like a good place as you stroll by.
I hate to be I've been there, that deal. Carlisle's good. West Glen's got a flat field. They use it for soccer, too, or used to. Go ahead.
And now I'm going to skip back around on you to the river.
Got that up. I'm ready.
I figured. Looking at the Mississippi side, and I hate calling them divisions because they're like two separate entities. We've talked about this numerous times.
And I talked to somebody yesterday about that in our company. We were texting back and forth about scheduling and whatnot, and it's definitely two different conferences in one.
Exactly. AJ at Nashville, and you know that AJ comes in the favorite, even on the road. But Nashville, off that big win against Frankfort last night, maybe some momentum now for the Hornets.
Strength of schedule, it's probably even because AJ's not really beat Frankfort, Murphy, it's not really in Massac. It's not really a strong schedule. They always start out this way, 3-0. And then Nashville's had to deal with Carlisle, Mater Dei, and then waxed Frankfort, which AJ struggled with. They had that 110-109 game. I'm kidding, but Nashville at home played a better schedule so far. It wouldn't shock me to see Nashville pull a stunner next week. Really wouldn't.
No, not at all.
Favored AJ, but it really wouldn't.
Well, then you take a look at, DuQuoin, Carterville. Carterville's going to be the favorite there, but I mean, that's always a good matchup. But DuQuoin comes in 0-3. Carterville is
3-0.
Yeah.
You don't think Carterville's down there licking their chops I mean, DuQuoin's come in there twice on the turf in the playoffs and just whacks them. And you don't think Carterville's thinking, hey, this is our chance, we're going to put it to them, put them 0-4 and put another nail in the not in the playoffs for DuQuoin again? I mean, DuQuoin's 0-4 if they don't win next week. They're not going to be a favorite at Carterville.
Right.
Then they got to go to Sparta, and that's a tough place to play for everybody. Been over there. Tough place. That's spinning the wheels there in DuQuoin right now.
Well, and it's definitely a tough place to play. And you look at the other game on the Mississippi side, Sparta at Pinckneyville, should be interesting in terms of geography.
Yeah, Pinckneyville's not lost to Sparta in 13, 14 years, I think, streak. So the Panthers at home, I can see them winning, getting to 3-1, and then they have, I believe they have DuQuoin week 6 at the turf in DuQuoin. So
of course, on the Ohio side, you have Heron at Benton, so that takes on a different complexion.
Heron's got to win, obviously, get to 500. They're going to be the favorite. Benton, like I said, lost a playoff game last night. I mean, that was like, ooh, that hurts because I think they thought they were going to. I picked Benton to beat Pinckneyville last night. Thought they would win by a couple touchdowns, and Benton stubs their toe, and now you've got to win. You've got to win 5 out of 7 if you're a Benton because they don't have playoff points. I think they got 5 last night. That's not going to be enough. You got to rack up 5 wins over the next 7 weeks.
Of course, quickly through the rest of the Ohio to get to the South 7. You have Massac at Murfreesboro. That could be interesting.
Very even teams.
Yeah. Murphy, I think, coming off a good win.
I'm impressed with Massac's new coach and how he's getting things done down there with points-wise. That win at Charleston, I know Charleston's down, and they lost 14 kids. Didn't have 14 kids go to the game last night for whatever reason. Then they got smoked. Charleston did. But for Massac to get on the bus and drive 25 hours to Charleston and win, that's impressive.
And then, of course, the final game on the Ohio side of the River-to-River Conference, of course, is Frankfort at Harrisburg, and Harrisburg's going to be the favorite.
Yep.
There's no doubt. Tougher
Frankfort
schedule.
can rack some points up, but they can't stop anybody.
Now we head to the South 7 Conference. We're gonna see just how good Carbondale is, and when they travel to Centralia on Friday night.
We'll see some Xing and Oing there.
Yes.
That'll be an interesting atmosphere.
A high-powered offense that we've seen, and a high-powered offense that's trying to get off of the ground this year with some new talent and some youth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that could be the game of the week in the South 7 this week.
I don't know.
I'm trying not to be a homer.
It's okay.
Okay, the game of the week in the South 7, I think, right.
It's not a problem.
I think the game of the week is really Mount Vernon Althoff.
I don't see how it could. And I know that Carbondale Centralia is going to get most of the pub down here in this part of the neck of the woods, but you know, if Althoff would have won last night, it'd be tough. But I think the marquee games next week: Carbondale Centralia, Mount Vernon Althoff, Heron Benton, and Carmi Chester.
Sure. Well, and I'll tell you what, in terms of the conference schedule, right now, this could be the week. I mean, week 8 is going to be geographical, no question. Week 6 could be interesting depending upon what happens.
Depending on what happens next couple of weeks, there could be a huge crowd at JD.
Right.
Because it's setting up for Carbondale, Mount Vernon right now as far as the 2 best teams. And I know Centralia's over there going, hey, don't forget about us.
And we haven't.
We haven't, but
Effingham, Salem and Civic. So Friday night will be what shows us.
Yeah, Carbondale Centralia shows a lot.
So some high-powered offense there. Marion Cahokia. Cahokia, believe it or not, has actually been a little bit more of a defensive team the past couple of seasons. Marion can still score at all levels. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I'm interested today to see if Cahokia can play with Miller Career Academy. I don't expect it unless something's really drastically changed.
It was close last year, I think, like 15-13.
And then Marion's got to go up there, and everybody knows how tough it is to win at Cahokia. So then you're like, okay. So that's why I said this is an interesting game for Marion to see how real Marion is because they really kicked themselves around with Harrisburg last night. A lot more problems I thought they had last night with Harrisburg than I thought they should have. So it makes me wonder where Marion's at as far as where their play is and things along that nature. So that's an interesting game to kind of see. We're getting to the time of the year where the barometers are coming, so we can tell how good everybody is.
There we are. That's been your football discussion, your Week 4 preview. Thank you for taking the time to join us this morning on the Saturday Sports Show. We'll be back next week at 8 o'clock. Don't forget Rams football on Friday night. 6:30 is your pregame, 7 o'clock your kickoff at Althoff. WMIX Mount Vernon, thank you for joining us. NBC News is now.